Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this session today we are going to see how we can run the Appium test cases in our Android mobile application. So in our previous session we have seen how you can run your test case on an iOS simulators. Okay, so we have seen all the changes that the Appium Java client version 8 brings, right? All the changes we have seen. It's pretty much similar for the Android as well. There are a couple of steps that we need to perform, and I will be letting you guys go through the detailed steps that it is required if you are even starting from scratch as well. If you have already done the setup, then you can quickly skip these videos towards the end to see the how to run the test case Appium test case into the Android simulators. Then in later part of or maybe in later sessions we will see how even you can run these test cases in your real devices as well. Okay, so first now to run the Android test cases, we need to understand what are the different prerequisites that is needed actually. Okay, so the first thing is that the simulator, right? Android simulator. Then the next thing is that the mobile application or the application under test. Then a particular project or a kind of a script that we need to write the test, and then execution by using the Appium. And then also we need to understand how we can inspect the Android applications as well. So these are the 4 to 5 different steps that we will be going through. Now the first thing is that how do we really set up our system or the laptop to make sure that it is configured for your Android simulator. Now for this, if you guys are not even go through on this particular tutorial, I have clearly mentioned all the Appium specific requirements from starting from basic to advanced. But to go into the Android simulators, there are a couple of links that I'm giving you now. So whenever you get time, you can just go through that. Now, the first thing is that the Appium 2.x server. This is required to run your Appium server. There are a couple of changes which we have already discussed. You can quickly spend 5 to 10 minutes to understand these changes. The second thing is that there are a couple of locator strategies that got changed because of the Java client version 8. Even we are going to use the latest Java client version as well. Okay, so it's a very quick read. You can go back into this particular link and you can learn those things. Now the third and main thing is that how do we really set up our machine or the system to set up the Android simulator. Now for this, the first thing that we need to do is you need to download the Android Studio. Okay, now Android Studio, or we call it as even the Android SDK. So basically we don't need Android Studio, we need the Android SDK. Now what is Android SDK? So SDK is something which it's a kit which provides you a way to download all the Android operating system, because all the Android devices use the Android operating system, right? You can update, you can make like downgrade, you can select a specific model or a size of your device, or maybe a mobile or a tablet, all these things. So I would recommend to go through the Android Studio only. Android SDK, the command line is bit difficult, so I would suggest to go through that. So now if you go to this particular link here, now this gives all the detailed steps. I will be quickly going through into that. Now there are two ways which you can install the Android SDK to your system. One of the way is that simplest way, just download this Android Studio and you should be good to go. If not, then you can come down actually to this download option. There is another link that I am provided here to the below, and if you see that this is actually a command line tool. Like if you go inside and bit down, you can see that it's the command line tool, okay, where you don't need to install the Android Studio editor. Actually it's just the SDK only. But the problem is that here you need to use the SDK manager commands to download the latest version of the Android Studio, or the Android SDK versions. Let's say that before Android 10 was there, now Android 11 or 12 is coming into the market. You don't have any utility, right, where you can select some checkboxes and install. So that is the only thing you need to bit understand about the commands. And it's a very good documentation. If you want to use it, you can really install, uninstall, and you can update your Android operating system of your simulators. You can even create a new simulator by using this SDK command, SDK manager command. So I will be going through the Android Studio, which is very straightforward installation. So let's say that you already installed the Android Studio. Now after you installed it, you have to go and open the Android Studio, the utility or the editor, whatever you call it. Now it is something looks like this, and I have also explained in this particular blog as well. Now you need to go to the more actions here, and you see something called as SDK manager. Now this SDK manager is part of your Android SDK, which we are interested at. Now what is inside this SDK manager? So all these things are available here. Okay, there is a SDK platform where all the available, like you can see, Android 2.1 was our first operating system, and from there it is continuously going to the API 13, which may be the Android 13 version. Currently I have in my system the Android 11 and 12 version is available. So any simulator that I will be taking, I can use any one of these operating system to install inside the mobile device. So, or the simulators. Okay, so SDK platform is required that. Now if you click on this SDK package details, you see couple of options here. We don't really need to choose everything. You have to choose the Google Play. All these 4 options you can choose and apply. If you are on the SDK tools, you can just need these many options to choose or check that. SDK update site, you can select everything. Apply. Once you apply it, it will download all the components. It will take some time because it is having more gigabytes of memory actually to download all those or the size. Now once everything is installed, you have to, before to that, you need to specify the path actually, where exactly all these downloads will go. It is very essential for you to keep note of this particular path, because this SDK is really helping you to initiate all of your simulators. Okay, so that is what I have explained here, all these things. Now I hope that by this time you would have installed everything. Now the next thing is that you need to set up couple of environmental variables. Okay, so this is again common for your Windows and Mac operating system. Just the way that you are you are adding the environmental variable, that is differs. So as I told, you need to use the path of that Android SDK which you have provided there, that you have to give with a variable Android_home. Okay, another path actually, so that is your tools and then platform tools. All these 2 paths you need to append with your path variable. Now this path variable is available in your Windows or Mac as well. Okay, so now I will show you how it is configured in my system. Now if you go to your user folder and then you have to command shift greater than, then you will see all the hidden folders. Then you have to go to the G profile. Okay, now I'm using the Big Sur Monterey actually. Now I have upgraded. So this is what actually the G profile looks like. Now if you really go inside this, you see that all these paths I have added here. So Android SDK, emulator, tools bin, platform. How do you know? This is not difficult actually. Like I will Control C, I will open my Spotlight and I will copy this. Now you go inside this and you see that all these folders are available, like whatever I have added here, right? You can see that. Make sure that the Android home is set properly with your latest Android SDK folder. And Java should be installed for sure. Okay, Java, whatever the version with, either 11 or any version more than 8 would work fine. Okay, so that is the initial. And then for your Windows, you know, you have to go to the My Computer, right click properties, and you can just add those things. Okay, now the second thing is that we need to use this ADB command. This is very much helpful to understand if the simulators are launched properly or not. So for this, because we have added all the commands into our environmental variable, I should be good to go. Now you can open your command prompt or the terminal, and you just need to say adv devices. Now you see that at this moment there is no other devices attached. It means that I have not connected my Android real device nor the simulators. Okay, so let me attach, or let me launch the device, and let me run the same command. Okay, so now I will be opening the Android Studio. Okay, let's say that I have installed the latest version of the Android OS. Now the second thing is that if you go to this more actions, after all of your job done with the SDK manager setup, you have to go to the virtual device manager. Okay, so if you click on that, it gives you an utility to create all the simulators. For an instance, you can see that there is a create device. I'll click on this, and you can give that and you can choose any of the models from the Android that is providing, any size or any particular mobile device. Now you see all these devices are from Google only, but any other, let's say Samsung, OnePlus, anything that you want to go, they have given all the supported sizes as well, so that you don't need to really stick with these models only. But I would suggest that you choose any one that is the latest one, and that does the job. And here you can see there is a Play Store icon. It means that you can log into your Google account and you can download any application from the Play Store. As you do with your real devices, you can do it from the simulators as well. Okay, now even it provides all the tablet models that is supporting from the Google as well. So you choose a particular model, then click on next, then you choose the Android OS. Remember, in the Android SDK we have downloaded the specific versions. Now those are coming here, those Android OS engines are displaying here. Now at this moment I have the 30 and 31, I think it is 11 and 12, these two, sorry, 10 and 11. So these are API levels from the Android, but to the users it is, you can see that Android 11. Now when you say that you have Android 11 OS into your mobile, it means that you are using API level 30, like that you can remember as well. Okay, and the all other older versions are also available. Now depending on your need, you can download them. Okay, after I choose anything, then I click on next. Then you can choose portrait or landscape mode as a default. I would always suggest that when you go and create a new device, right, simulator, always give enough space to your internal storage. The 800 MB is not at all sufficient. You need to give at least 2 gigabytes. RAM also you can change to 2 GB, then only couple of applications it is easy to install for you guys. Okay, so when I say 2 GB, it is like, you can see 1 GB is 1024, so you can just specify 2048. Okay, this is into MB. The same thing 2048, you can just add like this into this too. I will show. Then once you finish that, it takes some time, and it will add a new device into this list. For an instance, let's say that I have this particular device here. Okay, let me just open this one and show you. Now if I edit this one and go inside show advanced settings, and you can see that even I given 6 GB of RAM actually here, internal storage, and RAM I have kept it. But then if the application is not installed, sometimes you will get a string error. At that time you can increase this space and just finish it, and you are done. Okay, so you can just edit any one of these device list to give or to provide more memory, and then you can open. For an instance, let's say that I am clicking on this particular first device from the list and launching this particular AVD, and it will take some time, and it will launch your emulator. And as you can see that it is a tablet model actually, Nexus 10, and this is how it looks like. It is pretty similar to your real devices. There is no difference here. It will come, and you can drag any of the APK files to this, and then you can get started with. Okay, So now for this moment, I will be closing this device manager, which I launched from the Android Studio. Now, if the Android Studio is not there, you have to use the SDK manager command, which is sometimes difficult. So I would suggest to install your Android Studio, and everything you will get with a click only. Okay, fine. Now, so we are done with our simulator. Now in this moment, if I open the terminal and open the ADB devices or launch it, you can see that it is telling that there is a emulator is opened actually. Now it is attached, but I don't know why it is. Let me just refresh a bit and then run the same command. Yep, now you can see that this, when it is coming as a device, it means that it is online. So you can use this device to run your Appium test. Fine. Now the next thing is that I need to choose the app under test. Now for this, I will be using the Source Labs, one of the demo application. It's a React.js application, which I already discussed. Now you just need to go to the releases section, and here you have to choose the APK file. So APK file is required to install into your simulators, Android emulator or simulator. Now you just download it. Okay, so let's say that I clicked on this, and then it will download, and then you have to extract it after downloading. Once you extract it, it gives you the APK file. I think it is already into the extracted folder only. Now your job is to just drag it into this simulator. So I'm keeping, and this is my APK file. I'm just dragging it. Yeah, now you can see this is the same demo application only which I'm using. So now this is the demo application which just overridden with the latest version. So now if I open this application, okay, so it is opening into the landscape. You know here what is happening, this particular application doesn't support the landscape mode. Even you have an option where you can keep it always into the portrait mode only. Fine. Now this particular application, you can do any action here. You can even log in, you can do a logout, you can just go to the catalog view, all these things you can do that. Okay, fine. Now I need to make sure that I will write the Appium test to run onto this particular simulator. Now for this, I need the Appium server to be running, right? So I will open this and I will say Appium. Okay, because Appium server is required to run. Okay, now the second thing is that I need to inspect some of the elements from this particular application so that I can write the test. Now to inspect this, I need the Appium inspector. Okay, Appium inspector. Now if I click on this, then I should get the Appium inspector. Okay, I have already discussed in our previous session what is Appium inspector, how to use it, why it is a separate tool instead of using the Appium desktop UI. Okay, so now I'm ready with my Android simulator. I'm ready with my Android application. Appium server is running. Now I'm using the Appium inspector to inspect the elements. Now for this, I need couple of capabilities. The first thing is that the device name. You can see Appium : device name. Automation name is UI Automator 2. Platform name is Android. Now the two things that is required, so these three things determines which device, which operating system I'm acting. But then in my simulator, there are a lot of applications are available, right? Here lot of applications are there. Which application specially it will take to inspect that? Now that's where the app package and app activity is coming into the picture. There are a lot of different ways that you can get the app package and app activity. The first option, as always, I suggest to go and talk to your developer. They will give you. If not, nothing to worry about that. I have already specified efficiently fetch the app package and app activity. So now to open the app package and app activity, you need to make sure that your app is launched into the simulator. Then you have to run these three commands. But the condition is that this should be in your Windows operating system only. For Mac operating system, you cannot use this particular command. okay, but then nothing to worry about that. What you can do, that you can install one of the apk info. It's the name of one application which you can download from here and then install it into your simulator wherever you are using this. Okay, when you open that apk info app, it gives you all the application that is present in your device actually into this simulator. Then you can choose my demo app. There also you can get the app package and app activity, and I'm just giving the what you call a screenshot of that. This is how you will see that. Okay, so the first portion is your app package. App package is nothing but the project, the development project actually they have created. Now activity is nothing but each screens in your application. Normally it is home activity, sometimes they give a different activity, you can get it from here. Okay, now these are the only things that is required. Now I have got the app package and app activity. You can see that the app package is com./mydemoapp.rn. So this is the project they are using, the Android project. And then I want to launch this particular application from the main activity. Okay, so this is how you can do. If you don't want app package and app activity, you have an option Appium : app actually. So that I have already shown in our previous session, that Appium : app, how to use that. You just need to provide the path of that particular APK file from your system. Okay, now if everything is ready, the second thing is that I need to do a start session. Make sure that your app is launching. Okay, you can see my Appium server is launching here. It's already running. The Appium server should be launched before you are clicking on the start session. That is what you need to make sure. And you can see that this is the main activity that it launched. Now it is very easy. You just click on any element and you can get to know the XPath, the ID, whatever you want to know. Now let's say that I'm tapping on this, and then you can see all the options here. Let's say that I want to log in, and you can see the login option here. If I do a login, I think it is not updating correctly, but let me go inside this and reset, and then here, and you see that this is my login, and you can see the accessibility ID is giving as menu item login. Now if I tap on this, you can see the username input field, password input field, then login button. So accessibility ID, or maybe sometimes it will give you the class name, content description. You can use any of the Appium locator strategy to write the Appium test. For now I'm closing this simulator, this inspector. I don't need actually. This is only one time where you want to capture all these things. I have already captured all these details, so I am closing this. My server is running here. My simulator with application is ready. I just need these three components only: simulator, terminal where the Appium server is running, and my editor. Now here what I'm going to do, I'll copy paste this particular iOS test case here. Actually I will be updating it for a quicker access, but here in this case I will be using UI Automator. Okay, you can see that UI Automator 2 options. So this is a new class they have introduced. If before versions you would have seen that is actually your desired capabilities, right? Now you have to use this particular option. Now set device name. Okay, what is my device name? That we have seen from the terminal, right? ADB space devices. Now I will be entering that, and that is emulator, and then here 5554. If you are using a real device connected to your laptop, then when you put ADB space devices, it will give you the mobile name that you have kept it into the settings. Fine. Now set platform version. Okay, I think it is 11.0. like if you see this simulator here, or else you can go to the settings and then you can go inside the about, you will see. But I think it is 10. No, Nexus 10 is the model, but it is the 11 only. So I'm just keeping as 11.0. Now the second thing is that set, I will say that the app package. Okay, I need the app package, and then this has to be set app activity. Now these two things I need. Now set this one I will be copying to this package. Now this is my main activity, so I will just say main activity. Okay, I should have copied from there. Let me again open the Appium inspector and see that quickly. And here app activities, okay, M is capital. Okay, so here M is capital. Let me close my inspector. I don't want unnecessarily my CPU to be utilized. Okay, if you are using set app, you need to give the APK path, and as always I say, when you are using this app capability or the options, you should use the no reset so that it will not install the application if it is installed. But because I have already installed that, I am using the app package and app activity. And here Appium driver equal to new Android driver, that I will say here. Okay, and then you need to make sure that localhost port is 4723, and these options whichever you created you have to give as a second parameter here. Okay, fine. Now as everything is ready, now the second thing is that I will make sure that my app is launched. By this time the app will be launched. Then I need to identify this particular what you call hamburger menu, right? So let me open the Appium inspector again and quickly showcase you that what is this hamburger menu. So here if I open it and then Android setup start session, it seems like the iOS and Android, these two things are different, but the username, password and login button is same for both Android and iOS application. Let's quickly see that. If I click on this particular button here, and you see that it is coming as open menu. You can see the content description is open menu. Now the content description in Android, I can use it as my accessibility ID actually. So here Appium by accessibility ID, and here I need to give as open menu dot click. Okay, so when I click on this, what will happen? It goes to the list actually here. Then I have to click on the login actually here. Okay, so for this login, if you go inside menu item login, now I will just copy this one, accessibility ID. Okay, it is menu item login. Now the username, password and login button is same only. Okay, and I'm just giving some seconds into this so that you can see that it is typing or clicking all these buttons. Fine. Now I really don't want this particular inspector. Fine. Now the simulator is ready. How do I run this? Now this is a main method, right? So I'm not like going inside any kind of framework designing. This is a basic configuration step by step and running a very simple test case into the Android application. Okay, so now my script is ready also here. Okay, fine. Now I need to run this. So different ways, you know, if it is a test ng, you can run in a different way because it is main method. I'm just running and I'm keeping this. You can see that there are some movements are happening and the application is launched, and you can see it even will log in, password, and click on that. It will wait for some time, close the app. That's it. It's a simple test case, but then very easy way we have understood how do we really set up the capabilities, and then how do we launch the application, and how do you really inspect and write the Appium test. So that's pretty much it actually for this session, where you have learned about the step-by-step guide of the Android setup, launching a simulator, inspecting the Android application, and running a simple test. Okay, but stay tuned and do subscribe to this YouTube channel because we will be seeing some more interesting topics. One of that is that, let's say that now this Android or the Appium server, right? You can see that I'm running every time as a separate utility actually. So can't we just run that Appium server programmatically from the code itself so that you don't need another utility to stand here? Okay, we will see that. And also towards the end of this series, we will see how you can change your entire framework by fitting with Android, Appium 2.x and the Java client version 8, which is the latest one. Okay, so stay tuned and do subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.